we go.
I know, but I'm trying to have it done before.
We're live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. I'm going to go right now and share with everyone I know.
I'm not even going to share. I'll share it later.
No, you need to share. That's the whole point of the show.
People are watching the Super Bowl.
I know. But they're going to watch it later afterwards.
No, I'll share it afterwards.
Here it is. We're live.
I know. I'll share it afterwards.
I'm clicking on us. How do I share?
Well, let's just do the show. We'll share
okay.
it. So, share it afterwards, since most people are going to watch it later anyway.
So, my friends, welcome. We have a great show planned. Really? Really, sir?
You want a head button?
I don't right now.
Then calm it down, sister.
You're a head button. I don't even know what that means. But I don't want a head button.
You're Angie Chin button.
I don't even know if I'm supposed to like her or not.
We just know that
Check out.
We've been hearing about her
show.
for years.
I know.
All
right. Let's talk about movies. Whoa. Sabine, stop it. Stop. Here we go again. I told you it was going to be bad today. She's just not doing good.
She's knocking over. She's tangling up in every cable she walks near and then knocking things over. And she can't figure out where she wants to sit.
Sit down.
Just sit down somewhere.
Just sit.
Dog.
Sit.
Just come up here.
Come up there. Okay, lie down.
You're safe right there. Shut up.
Shh, lie down. Okay.
All right. Sorry.
So, what movie do we want to
we know
start
it's Super
with
Bowl
first?
weekend. Super Bowl's going on right now, so we know a lot of you probably aren't watching us live and you're busy with the Super Bowl, but the show must go on as far as we're concerned. We're going to record the Super Bowl, then we can go fast forward to the game and watch.
Yeah, I don't care about this dumb game.
I care about the game, but it's not.
I don't know. I don't even know who's playing. I don't know anything about anybody.
I know the Kansas City Chiefs are here again, but I don't know who they're playing.
Are they allowed to be called Chiefs?
They still are, to my knowledge.
Okay. Well, you know, some other people had to change their names. Well,
but you also have to remember they're Kansas City, Missouri.
So?
It's like
they're not very progressive.
All white people there. Remember, that's where he drove through? Yeah.
That happened last year before the coronas. We were driving
the year
home.
Before.
Oh, the year before. Yeah. We were driving home from
Chicago
celebration because our flight got delayed and
we were snowed in Chicago. So we said,
like,
screw it, we got a car.
We're going to rent a car and drive home. But we drove through the whole state of Missouri, and I didn't notice because
I noticed.
I don't care.
Well, I started realizing we weren't seeing anything but white people.
There were were no black people.
And one of my head assistant instructors is from there, so I texted
no brown
her,
people.
And I'm like, "Hey, we're driving through your home state," and haha, we haven't seen. She's okay. You're not going to.
Yeah.
And we thought she was joking about it. Like we even went to like Taco Bell. Everybody that worked there was white.
And the lady was looking at me, and then I remembered this is traumatic. When I was a teenager, we went to Missouri for some church thing, and we were in Joplin, Missouri. And it was my family and some other people from church. We went to this restaurant, and it's like that scene in the movie where like the record stops and
yeah, and
everybody looks.
Everybody was staring at us at Taco Bell because, like, I actually, ironically, I talked about this at class earlier.
Did you?
Because we were talking about the Super Bowl and the Chiefs, and I told the story of us being there because it was all adults. And I said what I saw. Nobody said anything to us. No. But what I saw on their face, like, "What you doing with that brown girl?"
No. That's well, when I was there, and that thing happened to us when I was when I was younger, like they did not serve us. They completely ignored us, and we had to leave.
I think we only got service.
So I've only experienced that once in my life, and it was not fun. So,
and I've actually been through that a lot of times.
Were you haven't been served?
Well, yeah, but I've been with people when that's happened. But that's because that my whole life I've been around Hispanic people.
Yeah, true.
Almost everybody in my world has been Hispanic people.
Yeah.
And so I've been through a lot of stuff that I've either had to say something or I was discriminated against because I was with them.
Well.
So, and then ironically, it circles back to my married one.
Yeah, there you go too. And it's so funny because someone yesterday we were at dinner and they mentioned interracial marriage. I'm like, yeah, what about that? And then I'm like, oh, yeah, what about that? But I don't.
We don't ever think about it.
I honestly don't consider myself to be different than anyone else. And so when it occurs to me that I am, or when something happens to me and I realize I am, I'm like, whoa. But I'll have you know, I am 1% Japanese and Korean because I got my
Japanese or Korean.
And
no, it's not and.
I got my results back.
I'm pretty sure it's and or not and. You can't be 1% of both.
Japanese and Korean.
Oh, it is 1.1%. So that means you're probably 1% of one and 1.1% of the other.
All right. I'm going to use that to all its worth.
You know what's funny is I've probably experienced more of the race side of our relationship than you have.
Yeah, I do.
Because the white people I know had said something about it to me. without your knowledge. Like, you know most of the stories now.
Yeah.
But I would have to say something. And even stuff that wasn't meant to be mean, but was actually racist. You know, like my grandmother was saying, are you still dating that black girl?
Yeah. Well, I'm not black.
I know, so I had to
My
correct
DNA
that.
proved it. I thought I would be. I don't know why.
Because you have the attitude. All right.
I assumed
Ironically
I would
enough,
not.
I don't think anything we're going to talk about today has to do with race.
But next week it does. So make sure you tune in next week. We have a
We're talking
fun
about a classic,
show.
yeah, because there's a lot of new things that are going to happen next week.
Next week's going to be interesting. You do not want to miss it. I know you're watching the Super Bowl right now, but you're going to watch this later.
That's perfection too, because that Judas movie comes out next week too.
And
that is the perfect timing. That Judas and the Black Messiah. So it's a perfect comparison to the other movie.
And where we're going to be filming from and who our special guest is going to be. It's all going to tie together, and we are going to just share one love.
That's right.
There you go. All right. Now.
For nobody watching.
That's okay. But next week they will.
But we don't have as many movies this week because just different things going on, and it is what it is. So.
All right.
But we have a weird
Where do you
variety.
want to start with? I can start with the one I watched.
What is that?
That's the one I watched.
Oh, okay. That's the other one. We'll talk about yours. So that's the only thing that I didn't see.
that's the only thing we didn't watch together.
Right,
yeah,
so
we did really good this week. Okay, share. I'm going to share my screen with y'all and tell you about
Hopefully
this
it'll work
movie.
this week.
So this is a film I watched. It's available on Netflix. It is a short documentary, which means it's real life. And it actually came out a couple of years ago. I don't know why I was late to the party on this, but the movie is called Long Shot. And it's a documentary telling us about the life of this man. His name is Juan Catalan. And he was living in LA. And all of a sudden, he's just going out, leaving his house or whatever. And he is surrounded by SWAT. And they're like, you're under arrest for the murder of whoever. And he's like, I have no idea what's going on. So his kids are crying. His girlfriend's like, what's going on? They won't tell him anything. And they take him off to the police station. And they start showing him these photos of this dead girl. They show him his picture in the lineup and that it was circled. And she said, somebody said it was him and all of these things. And it is the craziest story of wrong person thing, because basically the lineup was all the pictures and the thing were a bunch of Hispanic guys with shaved heads and mustaches. Do you know how many Hispanic people that fits at any given time? Like, oh my gosh. I'm gonna just tell you what happens. You need to watch it. No, it's cool. So he's like, he finds a lawyer, and the lawyer's like, where were you? He's like, man, what day was it? It was Mother's Day weekend. Oh, I bought tickets for my mom to go to the Dodgers game. So basically it starts this whole search for them to go through all the film that the Dodger Stadium took to find him. And they find him, but the video is so grainy, they can't really prove it's him. So then they go on through this whole search to find the tickets, who was there.
Did you put up the spoiler thing? That you're spoiling the whole thing?
I need to, but y'all, this thing gets crazy. Every bit of evidence they put up, the lady on the other side tries to just refute it, because this lady has never lost a murder trial, and she gets everyone put on death row every time. So they go through this whole big thing and find out he remembers somebody was filming that day at the stadium. We don't know if it was a movie, a TV show, whatever. So the lawyer tracks down the general manager, and they find out it was Larry David filming his TV show.
Enthusiasm.
Yes. So they start going through all that film to see if they find him, and it is the craziest thing that they found him on the film. And crazy. You have to go through I mean, it's this crazy story, and you're like anxious, like, oh my gosh, did they find him? Did they not? Did they not? Anyways, you've got to watch it. And at the end, it tells you kind of what happened to the police officers, because they did use some unethical practices to try and pin it on this. And really, the whole thing centers on that this guy, his brother, was involved in some gang things, and that girl ratted out his brother. And so that's why they thought he had killed her. But he had nothing to do with it. And it is the craziest thing. So you just got to watch it. It's an emotional story. It's called Long Shot. It's available on Netflix now.
Well, if you're in this relation to crime stories things, this isn't really a movie, it's a TV show. But if you haven't, check out Night Stalker on Netflix. So good.
It's one of the top ones right now.
It is, because it's about the whole...
I got to fix your eyebrow. It's bothering me.
The whole Night Stalker killers and... killer, but it goes through, and it's pretty graphic at times, but it's also interesting. the different things and how different people and how they found them and how it was, but then how the city got involved and captured them and all this stuff. But then even funnier is a story came out later from one of the writers or the writer of, I think it was Bill and Ted, that he was actually a suspect as the Night Stalker killer because he had sold his car. The car got stolen, if I'm not mistaken, by the Night Stalker, used in a murder, but the person never transferred the title, so it still showed up in his name. So he got questioned as a suspect as the Night Stalker killer way back. So anyway,
that's crazy. Oh, go back to sleep, baby. You're okay. She was sleeping.
No, I didn't do anything. Okay. Anyway, all right, moving on.
All right, next movie. What do we want to talk about? We got many things.
It's some interesting variety. We got like romantic comedy, I guess.
Yeah. Do you want to just go this way or this way? You want to start with this? You want to start with this one?
I don't care. Go whichever you want.
Let's go here. This was fun.
Yeah, so this one is a new Netflix movie, and I say new. I think it's been out a couple of weeks. I think it was last week's Netflix movie. But it's essentially the Goonies in Hawaii.
I thought it was a little Goonies. I thought it was also a little Indiana Jones.
It is, and it's funny is it even has a Short Round / Data. The actor, I always forget his name, but he shows up in the movie, and there's even an Indiana Jones joke.
There's a lot of Indiana Jones jokes and references.
And there's even a moment where a girl is driving a car, and she straps things to her feet, just like he did in Indiana Jones Drive. And there's a whole treasure hunt adventure. It's literally the Goonies.
The little Goonies.
But it's using the Hawaiian culture stuff, which part of the charm of this movie was yet another film that is showcasing a different culture.
Yes, which I love.
Yeah, I'm glad we're seeing more of this diversity of getting to see cultures, even in in this case, it's more of a lighthearted, fun, adventure, comedy kind of family film.
I'm so into the whole Hawaiian culture and how much they revere their land and the people and the sacred burial places and all these things kind of come up. And I just think it's interesting because we don't do that. We don't care about anything. We'll dig up a cemetery and build on top of it. And then you have the poltergeist house.
Well, that's what I was saying. When we were watching it, I was saying is like, I would so love to see the ideas of caring about the world, the earth, and the people. Maybe not every aspect of Hawaiian culture, but just that element spread into the rest of the world of giving a crap about your fellow person. Like we all know Hawaii has its problems too, but they care so much about the earth and the animals and the people and obviously they have crime and they have people that don't like each other, but I'm referring to the respect factor of somebody's dying and giving back to the earth.
Yes, exactly.
That stuff, I think, if we had more of that, and I'm not talking about the over-the-top crazy environmentalist.
No, I mean, there's that
don't
too.
Eat meat or whatever. Hawaiians eat some meat, so don't be trying to act like they don't. But
no, they eat some pigs and some spams.
Anyway, so the film is about this brother and sister and mom who live in Brooklyn. They have to go back to Hawaii because her father is sick. The kids don't want to go. The girl was supposed to go to this geo something.
She's supposed to go to summer camp with her best friend.
Yeah, we're supposed to go to this camp that they won a contest for. The boy, his typical teenage boy, doesn't want to be taken away from his thing during the summer. He had a girl he wanted to be around. All of it's kind of the cliche stuff you've seen in a lot of stuff. But the movie's really about not just a treasure hunt, but it's about finding who you are.
Correct.
And embracing who you are.
It's about finding your Ohana, which is your family.
Which is the name of the film.
Yes. And it is the cutest little movie ever. I enjoyed just learning about the different cultures. I like seeing Kelly Hugh, but
I didn't like her having to play an older woman.
I know.
But she is an older woman now. I mean, she's not young.
She's cute. And I like that we got to learn some Hawaiian things. What is she doing? She's all curled up. This dog curls up in a roly-poly. You can't even imagine. And she'll sleep like this. Anyhow, this had one of my favorite people who I never remember his name, but I love him when I see him. And it's Branscombe Richmond, who is the grandfather or the lady's dad in this movie. And I like that his Hawaiian and all of his like mannerisms and the way they speak and everything, it's there. And I like the little girl who is, I gotta think, where is the little girl? Kia Pew. She's like the cutest little thing.
I think this movie said introducing.
It's her first movie. And she's just got a lot of spunk and attitude. And I like this movie because I think it's super family friendly. Anybody can watch it. You can get something out of it. it has that sense of adventure. I think like the Goonies thing. So
Very
it'll
much.
be attracted. So I think that attracted us because we're older. But then if you're a kid and that's like your first time seeing, this might be their Goonies. You know.
Yeah,
So
it's,
I
it's
really
nowhere
like
near
that.
as good
No,
as Goonies,
it's
but I
different.
think it's because it's a
There's no Cyndi Lauper.
well, okay, but this one also doesn't have like a lot of the elements that Goonies kind of made it even better. The villains, and this doesn't really have villains.
No, it didn't.
It's just
it's a
the
fun
family,
story.
and most of the issues are with internal
Yeah.
of the brother and the sister issues and that kind of thing. So I mean, it has that Goonies vibe to it, and I love seeing Data show up and
Yeah. And I like the whole like they're looking for kind of a treasure, and she's one of those geo tracker people. So using the clue. So it's a fun thing. I liked it. I really enjoyed it. I don't know if I'm its target audience or not. Maybe my children would be, but
I think this is one of those. It's
I
kind
think
of a
anybody
family
could
adventure
watch
film.
it.
It's really what it is. It's a family adventure film.
This dog is licking my feet.
No.
It's weird.
Which the fact that dog has not died licking your feet is a miracle.
Hey.
Your feet are gross.
Anyway, it's the cutest little movie.
It is. I didn't really want to watch it when you mentioned it. I'm just looking at. I didn't see the trailer, but looking at the poster, I was like,
oh, it's cute.
this is going to be one of those. It's like, oh, this is going to be like this cheesy Disney Channel type of movie, but it's not.
It's not.
It kind of reminded me of the Dora movie that came out.
Oh, I love that.
But that movie
too.
was really fun.
It was
and I had
fun.
no interest in seeing that movie because I don't care anything about Dora.
I was all like, Striper.
But that Dora movie is way better than it had any business being. And this one kind of falls that line.
Yeah,
but this one,
it's so cute.
the thing about this one though is it really does. I really did like you said, that it really embraced the heritage.
We got a lot of
people
culture. And I've been watching my Hawaii Five-0 and Magnum PI, so I'm all in tune with Hawaiian culture.
But it's interesting when you watch a movie like this because we are the brother and sister as we watch the film.
Yeah.
So we're having to learn the culture like they're learning the culture and figuring out, oh, you should respect that, whatever, and this and that, and why they do this and what's what.
And the whole thing of like, why haven't you taught them Hawaii? She's like, we live in Brooklyn. Who are they going to talk to?
Which was funny because I understood why they wouldn't, and you were like, well, why wouldn't you teach it? Because it's a different mentality.
Because to me, I mean, it was so important that we all spoke Spanish, even if you didn't. I mean, I use it like all the time now. I'm very
well. That's
into
because you go to
it.
a Spanish church too.
Yeah, well, and I teach in Spanish at Bible school, so I'm very into it. But it was always important that we learned it. And you know why I think it was? Because my dad felt bad that he never learned Kichiquel from his grandmother. And so none of his family even know their native Mayan language anymore because it died with their grandmother. So I think it was really important to him that we learned it. But then again, when I grew up, I didn't know there was a difference between Spanish and English. I think Spanish was my first language, and I thought it was all the same thing.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit of a weird transition when I started school. I'm like, okay, this is different somehow. So anyways, check out the movie.
Was my first language.
Check out the movie, Finding Ohana.
It's on Netflix now.
Find your Ohana. All right. It's so good. Okay, next. We can go anywhere you want to go. I'm going to go here. This is a dramatic change of movies.
Which one? Oh, yeah.
We're now going to talk about the movie Wild Mountain Thyme. I believe it's based on a book of the same name.
Okay.
No, is it not? All I know is at the end of the movie, we're singing Wild Mountain Thyme. Okay, so this movie stars Emily Blunt, who everybody knows. She's Mary Poppins. She's married to Jim from The Office.
His name is John
She's the lady
Krasinski.
from the Be Quiet Silence movie.
Quiet Place?
Quiet Place. Really, she's Mary Poppins. That's all you need to know.
Is she Mary Poppins, though?
Well, she's not as good as
You
the
wanna
first
argue
Mary
that?
Poppins, quite honestly, but
If
that's
you
who I
want me to
love.
argue that I think both Mary Poppins movies are not good, but I thought her movie was better than that other one.
Oh, I love the original. And then it also has, what's his name? Jamie Dornan, who's the 50 Shades of Grey guy. But don't look at that.
Yeah, that movie's awful.
Synchronic, is that the one he was in? Or
Synchronic, yes.
Yes. That's what you need to remember him from, or just something different.
It's also got
that war movie.
It's also got John Hamm and Christopher Walken. Which his name, every time I hear his name,
I know you're gonna tell that horrible joke.
It's not a horrible joke. It was so funny. It was Johnny Carson when he did Karnak the Great, and he would hold the thing to his head, and he would say the answer, and he would go Christopher Walken. Then he'd open it up, and it's like something the Reeve family will never see.
Oh.
Which it's dated now because most people don't even know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but it was rough back then.
At the time, it got a crunch.
Ooh,
And then, of course, on purpose, they would do that because then when the audience would groan at him, then he goes, say something like, may your mother's feet be webbed and have no water or something stupid.
Yeah.
I just made that one up. So.
Anyhow, okay, so the movie, what is this movie about, babe? How would you describe
So the premise
this?
of the movie is it's these Irish people, and they're kind of an arguing families. It's almost like
I don't know if it's a book. I think it's a book.
Hatfield McCoy kind of mentality, but not a full on. They are fighting over a piece of land, but they're not really. It's really about this father and son, and they're getting older.
It's about the father and son, I feel like.
And the son is trying to find his way. He's kind of awkward. They want him to. He wants him to embrace the Irish heritage, whatever, but he doesn't want to give him the land because he's not a farmer. And then you have Emily.
It's based on a play, not a movie. I mean, book. I apologize.
Who's at the beginning of the movie, she loses her father, and she's kind of quirky as well. She's all in that whole Irish farms and all the stuff, and
I fell down.
So it's them. It's them kind of knowing each other from childhood and reconnecting, but also the families reconnecting and dealing with differences and quirky characters and romance and awkwardness and all kinds of things.
They are both so awkward in this movie.
And I think it's
on really purpose. Well. I mean, he's really like introverted and weird and awkward. And then she's a little bit more outgoing, but she's strange.
Yeah.
This
is one of those movies that I really had fun with this movie, more so than I thought I would. I thought it was going to be like a Notebook type of crap. Yeah. I was going to be irritated.
Yeah.
But I actually enjoyed the movie outside of the accents not always being that great.
That's where I'm going. Yeah.
But you kind of have to let some of that go.
Yeah.
But the weirdness of all the characters, because every character in this movie is slightly weird, except for John Hamm's character, who's the American guy.
Hey.
And he's more of a douche.
He is. He is.
But like my favorite character is not even a main character. It's the guy that just shows up that knows the facts about everything. The little old man.
Yes.
He would just pop in and he'd give you a fact like, don't eat the potato salad. Yeah. It might have gone bad. And he goes, it's definitely gone bad.
Yeah. He was funny.
He was funny.
So my problems are Christopher Walken didn't even try to do an accent.
He did it first.
He didn't try.
But he's also Christopher Walken.
I mean,
your problem is you don't like Christopher Walken.
He's okay.
Christopher Walken is awesome.
The other two, their accents were fine. I mean, it's not. I feel like there were some words that they got right and some words that they got wrong, just based on the few people that I know. Not that that's a lot. I think some of the quirkiness got to me after about an hour.
Did it?
Yeah. And the two of them didn't really seem like they were like a great match.
Well, I think that's part of on purpose because I think they're the perfect match for each other, but they're supposed to not look that way because they are both awkward.
They're super awkward.
And I think that's why they match because they're both awkward.
It got too quirky for me. I mean, it's fine.
I didn't think it was like a movie that I'd be like, oh my god.
I would never watch it again. It feels it does feel notebooky to me. Like, okay, great.
See, and I think the
it's
humor and the quirkiness took it away from the notebook parts for me that I thought I was gonna suffer through this long.
Now I thought Emily Blunt was funny.
She was, and I don't think Dornan was supposed to be funny. He was supposed to be awkward and weird.
Yeah, but it was too weird for me. It was just a little out there. I felt like he was a little bit like need to have been diagnosed with something.
Yeah, he came off very much like he was on the spectrum.
Yeah.
And I think that was on purpose. I think she comes off like she's on the spectrum too.
But
just the difference is she's...
Was this basically Benny and June?
Essentially, but...
I just got that.
In that movie... I think he was the only one that was. Well, she was on the spectrum, wasn't she?
She was different, yeah.
And then he was more. Yeah, it was basically.
It was essentially
the same thing,
Benny and June.
I think Benny and June's a better movie.
It's a much better movie. I mean,
I haven't seen that. I hadn't thought about that movie in years.
I hadn't either until just right now. It just hit me. But what I did love about this is the location because it is so beautiful. The whole scene, like these wide pan shots of just these green rolling hills. And one thing that they said, which I get now about the people there, it's like, I am the land is me, because this land has been in their family for like hundreds and hundreds of years. And one thing that I did think was funny is there's this one piece of land that, okay, so the guy's family owns this land. her family owns this land, and they joined together. But there's one piece of land that she owns herself.
And it's literally just a little square.
And it's a little square where they have to open a gate to drive through, close it, open the next gate to drive through and close it. And it's such a pain. And it's a pain for them. And she's like, yeah, that's on purpose. And it's because,
there's a funny story of why it's happened.
It's because something happened on that piece of land. And that's why the dad gave it to her. And on purpose, they made it a pain in the butt piece of land to open the gate, close the gate, open the gate, close the gate.
Stupid reason. It's hilarious,
but it's funny.
Yeah.
And so, and that whole interaction that happens at the beginning and the why is actually kind of the catalyst for now when they're older, and it flashed back to that, and you're like, oh, that's why this was important. So that part of the story was actually catchy to me.
Well, you know what's funny about that is initially you might think of like, how can you give away a little square of land or whatever? But what's really funny is, and I don't know if you remember this, but when I used to work in an entertainment job, we had this training facility warehouse that I had an office at that I worked at. It was on this plot of land.
Yeah.
Right?
Correct.
So where the building was and the driveway was back here, right? We drove up and I came into my office here. This whole land, we knew about. There's a little plot of land right here.
Yeah.
That square of land we did not own.
That's so
literally
bizarre.
To the edge of the building, from the edge of the building to the parking lot, to the street right there, we did not own. The city owned it.
So bizarre.
But the city didn't own it. Somebody else it was kind of a similar situation. Somehow it was still on somebody else's name. So the city, they came out to try to find us for not mowing it. And then we told them, like, we need to that's how we found out, because we're like, what is this? We're like, this is not us.
Yeah.
And what is it? Where is this land that you're telling us that we have to mow? And then we realized it was that little square. And we were like, it went through this whole thing. It was like it owned by somebody else. So when they sold that property, they had to figure out who owned it and went to an estate. And then it got lost in the city and the whole weird thing. So clearly it's not that hard to do.
Oh my gosh.
But anyway,
well, it's different. It's a quirky romantic comedy.
Yeah, and don't let the Notebook-looking photo fool you.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was anything like that. I thought it was actually pretty fun for what it was. It wasn't anything that's blowing down the genres or anything.
Nah,
it was a fun little movie.
It's not going to be an award winner, but it's fine. If you're looking for something, if you like the two of them,
you gotta let some of the accents go. And
they tried.
One of my friends, acquaintance friends that runs Irish Film Critic, I asked him about it, and he was like, "Yeah, that was kind of a problem." But he was connected more.
It is a hard accent to get. Well, I had one line one time in a play, and I watched
Boondock Saints.
We trained
you from Boondock
over
Saints.
And over, and it is so hard to capture.
Well, it's funny because he really enjoyed the movie, I believe. But he admitted a lot of it was nostalgia, getting to see the places he knows.
Oh, it's so beautiful to watch.
He's from Ireland. So anyway,
so pretty.
He has the accent now, too.
Well, he's from there, right?
Yeah, that's why he's called the Irish.
But I want to go there.
Anyway, all right, moving on. It's available now on the Blu-ray and the DVD, or just the DVD.
Wild Mountain Thyme. Not Thyme, but Thyme.
Like spice.
Yes.
Herbs
and spices.
All right, moving on.
All right. Let me post a copy to our review here so you can check it out when you have a few moments on our website at HollywoodMatrimony.com.
If you haven't noticed, here's Richard Simmons. Look how much bigger his head is than Spike.
That's your embodiment. This is my embodiment. Spike the vampire. It's my embodiment character.
And I got Richard Simmons. That's
awesome. Bizarre. That's who you chose.
I love Richard Simmons
to be your character for today.
I would hang out with Richard Simmons all day if I had a chance.
Isn't he missing? Or did we find out where he is?
Well, from my understanding, he's just been holed up in his house before the pandemic. He's been going for years now.
We could do this or this.
I don't care. Pick one.
I'm gonna pick this because I think the other one's a good thing. Okay. We're going with this.
So the next one is another one that I knew about, and then I kind of forgot about it. And then I remembered, came across and said, "Hey, you want to watch this?" And we actually were going to watch something else. And then our cheap side kicked in, and we decided not to.
Yeah, I wasn't going to pay for something.
We didn't want to pay for something else, so we decided to watch this movie called Chick Fight.
Yes.
And it stars Malin Ackerman, Bella Thorne, Alec Baldwin, Fortune Feimster, however you say it.
I love Fortune.
What is this other girl's name? Where's she at? Dulce Sloan. I'm assuming Dulce.
Dulce.
I don't know how to pronounce, but Sloan, Kevin Nash, Kevin Connolly. It's got a great cast in it. I was afraid it was going to be one of these movies like Alec Baldwin just barely shows up.
Yeah, no.
But everybody here is fully in.
No.
Essentially, the movie is Fight Club, but it's a female comedy version of Fight Club.
Can you get her up here?
It's without all the dark undertones of sticking it to the man, but using more of the women empowerment ideal without forcing women empowerment down your throat. It's more about it's a lighthearted thing, but there's a lot of emotion to it.
Yeah.
And it's a movie I thought was going to be trash.
It's a lot of
It ended
fun,
up being
you
a fun
guys.
movie.
It is a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this movie. I think it's a little fish out of water with Malin Ackerman because she is the funniest thing is when she's punching that
Focus ball.
The ball, and she punches it, pops her in the head, and then she gets back, she hits it, and it hits her again.
She
And
hit like 35 times.
oh my gosh, I'm thinking that would happen to me if you put me with one of those.
We're getting one.
I know, and so that would totally happen to me. And then she started hitting like this. He's like, "What are you, a cat?" or whatever. And I'm like, "Oh, I know people who punch like that." And it's so funny.
There's a lot of things that were driving me crazy with that stuff. But I will say that the fights that are in the movie are actually better than I would have expected.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Not because I didn't think that people could do it, but just from
what they never know.
The funny nature of it, I didn't think it was going to be.
It's a really funny movie.
Because I know, there's so many movies like this, and I wrote in the review, like you have Fight Club, which is a darker, serious tone. Then you have something called like Here Comes the Boom that brings a comedy aspect to it. It still brings real fights. Too. I love both of them, but this one is very much like it's more along the lines of Fight Club. But it brings more of a family element to it.
And there's some heart.
There's some heart to it, but there's multi layers that I didn't expect. So like,
really does.
Dog's trying to take out Richard. There's a personal connection to the Fight Club that brings in. It's like it's dealing with somebody that's kind of lost their way in life, and everything goes wrong. They're trying to find themselves. Yeah. Her best friend played by Dulce. I'm going to
say Dulce.
I don't know but she steals most of the movie.
She's so funny.
She is hilarious.
She's a conundrum because she's a police officer, but then you see her doing all this other stuff off duty.
She's not a great cop.
I'm like, what is going on?
And she's a lesbian, hilarious. So there's a lot of funny stuff with it.
Yes.
The movie. It's not a family film.
She's fun.
And also, to my surprise, Kevin Nash.
He's so funny. I didn't know he could be funny. Oh my gosh.
Kevin Nash
okay, where are you going?
He's
go that way.
Wrestling superstar. I think he was Diesel at some point, but he's
he
also done a lot of movies. But
funny in this.
This is not the normal Kevin Nash. This is a whole different
side
of Kevin
Nash. It's not
what
you're expecting.
Yeah, that we've never seen before.
Oh my gosh. Now one of my favorite people ever is Fortune Feimster.
She is hilarious.
I've seen her stand up, and you've seen her in other things you probably don't even know, but she's so funny in this too because she's kind of leading our Fight Club.
Well, she's also toned down in this more so than she is in a lot of her other roles.
Yeah, she's really crazy. Oh goodness. No, y'all need to go away. Somebody's gonna have to go.
Go ahead.
Anyways, and then Alec Baldwin was really funny. I like him. I haven't seen him. I guess I haven't seen him in a while because I didn't watch the show. I haven't watched the shows and all those things. Yeah. So now he's done with that. Oh my gosh! Why are you kicking me? Why are you kicking me? Oh my gosh! I'm just getting beat up over here because it's Fight Club. It's chick fight. Anyways, this movie is hilarious and you need to watch it.
It is. It's silly. It's funny. It's like Bella Thorne. She's really good at it. She plays kind of the bad guy, if you will. And it looked like she did most, if not all, of her fighting.
All of it.
And she was really good at it. I'm going to give her major props. Because
props.
I'm sure there's some of the techniques and some of the things that might not have been her because they might not let her because of insurance and stuff, whatever. But it's also, I think, a smaller budget film. So who knows? But she looked like, a lot of it looked like her. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think most of it was her. I think
she did it.
I tried to research and I couldn't find anything that confirmed it.
And then my other favorite person is the little Asian lady who's the school librarian. I loved her. I knew.
We knew something was going to happen with that one.
The quiet ones, you got to be careful. But I was like, I loved her. She was so good.
It is kind of one of the movies that you kind of know what's going to happen. It's not overly surprising. It's kind of cliched in some elements. Yeah. But it's just fun.
It's just
a fun movie. And it takes the Fight Club mentality, puts some comedy into it, women empowerment into it, some family stuff, some dealing with homosexualities with lesbians and gay people and other love stuff, and then bullies. You got some Karate Kid tough guy element stuff. There's all kinds of stuff in the movie. It's a fun little movie, and you can check it out right now on Amazon Prime.
There you go. And don't read all these horrible comments that are like, this was a dumb movie. It is funny.
Yeah,
it's meant to be a fun movie. Don't get all serious on us.
I read somebody got all mad because they thought it was a wasted attempt of female empowerment. I'm like, it's just a woman trying to find her way, and there's so much female empowerment in that movie.
Like, don't read too much into that one.
Well, my problem with that is when you deal with race or empowerment or any of those kind of things, when they force it down your throat, it loses its message.
I agree.
You have to let it organically happen, and that happens with good writing, good performances.
But who's not to say that joining the Fight Club won't make someone feel better? I mean, it would probably make you feel awesome. I would do
awesome
it
for almost 37 years.
I mean, well, and then there's those people, like this happened to me one time. We were somewhere watching MMA, and it was women's fight night. And they're like, oh, this is just disgraceful. Women shouldn't act this way. I'm like, why not? What if you like fighting? There's nothing wrong with that. So,
well, it's funny how the world is twisted because now with the empowerment stuff, with the anti-bullying things, there's so much things now. It's all about like, I grew up in a time where everybody's like, you shouldn't be doing martial arts. Oh, that's horrible. And this and this. Now it's like, you should put your children in martial arts. They need self-defense. Everybody needs defense. Everybody should be carrying a gun. And it's like the whole mentality changes when everybody realizes everybody's a victim.
Yeah.
And being a victim is not necessarily knowing how to fight. 90% of it, in my opinion, is confidence.
Yeah.
If you have confidence in the way you carry yourself, most people aren't going to bother you or likely bother you and or attack you as often.
Mm-hmm.
That's why kids, women, and older people are looked more as victims because it's the perception of them, not the reality of them.
Correct.
Like,
because you don't know.
Most women are crazy.
I'm crazy.
But you get the
and I know how to kick people.
But you get the whole women are weak. You get the children are
I will kick
vulnerable.
somebody.
Older people are vulnerable because of their slow stuff. But you have so many of them that will whoop your ass, or if you carry yourself with confidence. And this movie deals with that aspect of people that have
it's really about
that it's not just about abuse or bullying, but sometimes just life has hit them in the face.
Life has beaten you down.
It's that same
you gotta
thing.
Fight back.
The popular Rocky statement from Rocky Balboa.
Yes.
When he's like, it's not about how hard you get hit or whatever it is, about how hard you get hit, but keep moving forward, and getting back up and that kind of thing. It's the truth of life.
I love Rocky.
It's the truth of life.
Rocky's real life right there.
But anyway, check out Chick Fight. It's a fun movie just for nonsense and giggles and some women kicking each other's ass.
It's so fun. Okay. Now we're going into something completely different.
And we knew nothing about this movie.
Knew nothing except that I like these two people, and that's all I needed to be able to watch this.
We don't get enough Owen Wilson anymore.
We don't.
Although he is in the new Loki series on Disney+.
Oh, is he?
Yes.
And then all I ever see of Salma Hayek is her looking fine in her bikinis.
Did you
girl.
Did you see she keeps posting bikini shots on Instagram all the
Hey,
time?
she looks hot. She's 50. She looks that good. I would too.
There's a story that came out that I don't know, somebody complained or whatever about it, but she had said, "I'm
going to keep posting. You go, girl." Because she looks good.
I think she looks better now than she did back in the day when she was younger. And I thought she was not back in her Desperado days.
I would. I mean, if that was me, I would. I would do it now. I don't care. I mean, you get to see my belly hanging out. But you know what? I can always say this. I'm chunky, but I'm sexy.
Are you?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So what? Okay, the movie we're talking about today is Bliss. It is available now on Amazon Prime, and it stars Salma Hayek and what's his name?
Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson, not to be confused with the other one. This Owen Wilson with his nose. Okay.
This is a strange movie.
So as you can see from the poster, you get two versions of each person, and that's because there's like so many like two different stories happening at the same time.
Yeah, there are two different realities, but you don't know what's real.
You don't really know what's real. And I feel like maybe that's going to upset some people.
Well, and I read a lot of reviews of people really hating this movie, and I didn't get it because I didn't know what we were going into. And when it started, I was like, this movie's kind of boring, but it picked up, and then it started doing a lot of interesting things and interesting twists and turns.
Yeah,
and
so
I ended up really digging this movie.
I did too. I'm still thinking about it. So basically,
I mean, there's some plot holes and some different things that probably could have done better, but as a whole, because it's a movie, in my opinion, that even when it's over, you don't really know.
Correct.
And I like that kind of crap. I don't need an answer for everything.
I do too, because I've already decided what I think.
Right.
But then I go back and forth because I'm like, maybe. So basically what you see in the trailer is does it tell? It tells you this part, obviously. So,
but it doesn't really.
But
tell
it
you
doesn't
what
really
is.
tell you. So,
I don't think.
Kind of the opening scene of when they meet is she's telling him, "What are people searching for? They're searching for bliss, that happiness,
Well,
that
and he's
feeling."
been drawn a picture that looks just like her, and he meets her at a bar.
He meets her,
and so then they kind of go off on this adventure together.
Yeah, and throughout the movie, like there's these pills. You take these pills to feel this. You take these pills to do this, and so
I suppose it gives you powers.
It gives you powers over your reality because she's like, none of this is real. It's all in your head.
But does it give you powers? And
so
is the family, real, or is it not real?
It's not real. This is a simulation.
Real? Is he real?
And this will show you the reality and all that. So throughout the movie, you're going back and forth in this. Okay, this reality isn't real. It's all in your head. So this one is, but what is that? Or is that the real one? And this isn't right. I don't know.
And the moment, is any of this even happening?
Is any of this even happening?
Yeah.
And he's the one going through it. We're experiencing it with him, with Owen Wilson. Like, he's trying to figure out what's real, what's not.
And there's some clever twists that you pick up later in the movie that connected to something you saw at the beginning of the movie. There's elements that leave you hanging, like I said, where you don't know if it's ever really resolved. Mm-hmm. And I think that's on purpose because the journey you're going on, it's not about the resolution of it. It's about, literally the title fits perfect because it's about finding that happiness and blissful mentality of your life. And because even the bad sides of the stuff he's dealing with, he realizes he would rather be in that thing because of other elements, but then at the same time, he could have everything with this one, but then he loses this, and it's really interesting twist to all of it.
And I like the underlying theme of the whole thing is substance abuse.
Yeah, there's like a whole addiction thing that you don't even catch.
All about addiction
until about halfway through. You start realizing.
Okay, because she tells you if you take these magic pills, you get superpowers. But then I'm like, are they really having superpowers? Or are they just high and they believe they do? And then,
but then they do something to make you think, okay, this is more.
Real. Yeah.
But then they do that twisting where they show you a different version of it. And you're like, oh, wait a minute.
So throughout it, there's one character that's always trying to find him, and it's his daughter. Okay, she's continually trying to find him. But in his head, with all that's going on, he's even wondering, like, is she even real? Is she even my daughter? Is it not? And then he remembers, like, there's flashes of memory where he remembers her as a child. He's like, oh, and she's like, yes, it's me. And so I felt like, in a way, whether it's real or not real, but that to me is the sadness of what happens when someone's lost an addiction.
Yeah.
Like, they don't even know what's really real or not. There's one time where he's like, oh, I'm coming to your thing. And she's like, Dad, that was like 2 months ago or whatever.
That's another interesting thing that the movie does is there's a lot of time jumps that you don't know are happening.
Yes.
Until something else happened, you realize, wait a minute, it's been like a year and a half since something happened. And it was literally 3 minutes ago. And it wasn't like, it felt like time went on. It literally happened simultaneously.
It got lost or something. And so that's why I thought this movie is just so clever, because we're dealing with that whole addiction thing. And then, trying to give you that sense, like, is this real and is it not? And I'm wondering, is that what people feel? I don't know. I don't do any kind of drugs, so I don't know.
She probably should.
And I don't know. I mean, I think more about this whole addiction thing than I do, because no one in my family's going through that.
Yeah, I haven't done it, but I've had uncles that
were.
Yeah.
And
my one uncle was heavily.
So, I mean,
issues.
Is their sense of reality just completely warped out there? I don't know. This movie is so deep, you guys, and I can't even tell you about this, but I can't even tell you anything.
And I thought they were both really good at it. So good. Because they both have to deal with different aspects of life and different aspects of personalities and who they are. So I'm always impressed when an actor can kind of jump. And in this case, it's not as hard because the jump isn't as quick. Like we were talking about the trailer for I forget this. It's called Father. The Anthony Hopkins one, where he's clearly dealing with like a dementia thing.
Yes.
And there's a scene in the trailer. We haven't seen the movie, but it's in the trailer. He's like all mad, and then he just kind of goes.
Yeah.
Like he clicks. And then in WandaVision, there's like that one guy with the guy. It's done this for the show.
I told you, yes. Yeah, we watched it yesterday.
There's a character that's
like, oh
he's
my
like this,
gosh.
and then he goes, it's the same exact performance.
Ooh, that was.
But it just
transitions. These people are so good.
And if you can nail that facial expression from one to the next, it completely changes what you're seeing at that exact moment.
Correct.
In this movie,
it's not the person. It's a complete change of environment.
Yeah, well, and mentality of what you're visually seeing and doing and who you are.
And so, but then, the whole point of the movie is what she said at the very beginning. And then she reiterates it later when we're kind of in this different mindset of like, oh, maybe this is the reality. And she's like, well, we're looking for that bliss. But then she said that over here when we thought that was reality, we're looking for the bliss. So I'm like, I don't even know.
It goes through this whole rigmarole, and you'll probably be annoyed if you're somebody that needs a definitive answer. I love movies that don't have a definitive answer.
I want to watch this again and see if there's something I missed.
I like my slasher killers to not have a reason.
I agree.
I like movies that leave things up to your own thought process.
It depends. I might depend. It depends.
No, if it's like dealing with like the movie The Little Things. Like I know you didn't like the way that movie ended. I like the ending of it just because it felt how things probably normally really end in these kind of crime things. And it's a similar thing if there's some of that elements or if you haven't seen it. But
this one I dig it so much because I can go either way on this one. And I can't even tell you what happens, but you need to watch this movie. You will like it.
I think you'll like it, or you'll either like it or you won't. I think it's a gray area movie.
Yeah, I want to watch it again.
I mean, I don't think it's a gray area movie. I think it's you'll either like it or you don't.
Yeah, but I mean the overriding thing is, would you live this life even though it has a lot of problems, or would you choose to go, if you could, pick another one where everything's perfect?
But you lose the few things that you had the connection that was probably.
And I think that's kind of a real life question though. If like someone gave you $1 million, would you give up your whatever?
Like to live you get those things all the time. Was like, would you slap your sister for $4 million? I'm like,
yes.
I don't have a sister, but I would slap her for $15. So yes, I would. I'll hit anybody for free. So you offer me money, it's done deal.
I think part of the human experience is the struggle. Yeah. So I don't think I would give it up. I mean, who knows?
It's an interesting movie that I really dug.
It's interesting, cool. And it makes you really think. And I do like that it deals with the whole addiction thing and it brings it to light. And it's not an in your face, like gross story. It's a beautiful movie, and at times it's so gritty and dark, and then it's very pretty and light.
It's a dirty, pretty movie.
Yeah, it goes back and forth.
That makes any sense.
And there's it's so much. You got to watch this movie.
Did you actually pull these up, or did you ignore it again?
I have it.
You did? Oh,
I did have it. So check out the movie Bliss. It's available on Prime Video now. You will not be disappointed. If you are, call me. We'll talk about it on the show.
We'll tell you why you're wrong.
Yes, we'll tell you why.
All right. So that's kind of it for now.
That was it. So tell me about these things.
So for giveaways, we got pretty much the same stuff we had last week, but I do have a few other ones popping up. I don't know what you're putting up on the screen. So
I'm trying to put this up on the screen, and it's not letting me.
So we have a variety of martial arts and superheroes and stuff we talked about the show, some we haven't talked about yet, but we will be talking about. So the first one we have is a movie called The Swordsman. Is that right?
Yes.
This one's going to pop up. There's a movie called The Swordsman. I believe he's like that. Poor Richard.
Richard will not
Richard's
say
head
up.
is just too big. I believe it's a movie about a blind swordsman, martial arts flick from Logo USA that I'm looking forward to. Where are you going now? Go back. I'm about to go to the next one already. Sister.
I am. I'm getting there.
Also did you hit it already?
Yes.
Okay.
Babe.
Well, it doesn't. There's a delay, so I never know what's showing. And you're over there doing something else altogether. The next one is a super flick with Joe called Artillery, which is another one that's very much like Bliss, where you don't know really what's happening, what's true, and what's not.
You don't know what's happening.
So we have copies of that to give away. One of our favorite movies, our favorite new holiday movies, copies we're giving away. A copy of Fat Man, starring Mel Gibson, that we really had.
This is going to be my new favorite Christmas movie.
That's right. The other one that I'm looking forward to watching that I haven't checked out yet, Random Acts of Violence, which is directed by Jay Baruchel.
Oh, it's Jordana Brewster. I'll watch it.
I know. That's why I figured you were going to see it. I told you this. You should listen to me. It's based on a graphic novel as well.
Okay.
A comic book, I believe. And I believe I said, what, one more?
Two more.
Two more. We have also Jiang Zia, which is part of the Fingshin Cinematic Universe. Not really a sequel, but shared with the movie Negza, which poor Richard
he just will not.
His head is he's like you. His head is just too big. And then we also have copies of Born a Champion, which is the jiu-jitsu movie starring Sean Patrick Flannery that he wrote. And it's like a homage love letter to martial artists.
It's so good.
And I'm excited. I don't know if the movie's going to be good, but he has another one coming out called Assault on VA-33 that is a straight-up action martial arts flick. Looks like a little bit Die Hard. But it's him, Michael Jai White, Martin Dacascos. I'm all in. So it might not be good, but I'm ready to check it out.
There you go.
And that's what we have so far.
Okay.
What we
I
got
feel
coming out
like
this
there
week?
were a lot of things that came out on the TV and that we missed it. So this week, Malcolm and Marie, we are going to watch it. Just didn't get to it yet. So coming up this week on Netflix, there's this movie called Red Dot. Don't know anything about it except for these people are hiking and something about some love, I hope. Coming out nationwide, the movie Land.
That's that one with remember we saw the trailer for where the lady goes off the grid,
Yes.
living in the mountains or whatever.
Yes,
and
I think it's going to be really
Was it
interesting.
Dominic Bashir
Yeah.
and Jenny from Forrest Gump?
Yes. So
I think she directed it too. Didn't
did she?
I think so.
I don't know.
I think
Let's
this movie she
find out.
directed.
Who knows? I think it's going to be really interesting. Also, nationwide, I know you're up for this right now.
Yeah, Judas and the Black Messiah. This is another one that is not only theatrical but is also hitting HBO Max.
Yeah, so we
For 30
will
days.
watch it
We'll be
wherever
talking
we're
about that
at.
one. And it fits perfect with what else we're going to be talking about.
Yes.
So.
Video demand and digital, something called Fear of Rain. It's an interesting one because it's a young lady who's dealing with schizophrenia. So I think it's one of those, like, is this real, is it not kind of things. Video demand and digital, something called Sky Fire. I don't know. Who knows? Something about volcanoes and the volcano warning system. Video demand and digital, Young Hearts. I don't know anything about it. I'm assuming it's some sort of a little teen romantic comedy. Coming out on Prime Video, The Map of Tiny Perfect Things.
I guess I could have got that screening.
So we're going to watch that. This one,
we will be watching that.
Oh,
Sending us that.
MG. Video demand and digital, Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar.
We'll be talking
She's
about
like,
that
oh my
one.
God, Barb. Oh my God,
This
Star.
also has Fortune Feimster in it as well.
I know. I don't even care what's happening,
It
but
looks hilarious.
just with what's her name in it, the
Kristen
main
Wiig.
lady, yes, and she's all like, "Oh my
Well, her and the girl that plays
Barb and
Barbara
Star."
Star, they both wrote Bridesmaids.
Oh, okay,
The other lady's
cool.
pretty funny too.
Something called Rendezvous coming out on video demand and digital. Also Assassin in Red. That looks like it's going to be cool. I don't know anything about it, but some assassins. Something called Cowboys.
That one down there I'm looking forward to as well.
This one.
Yeah.
What's limited release?
Breaking news: Yuba County with what's her face?
Jake Gyllenhaal and Mila Kunis.
I know, but it's also got What's Worse
Awkwafina.
Than Mom.
Oh, Allison Janney.
Yeah,
That one's going to be good.
It's really funny.
It's a limited release. It might be near you next
All right.
week. Video demand and digital. Me, You, Madness. That just sounds like our lives. Me and You, Madness. Meltdown. Also, it's a documentary, I think, about the icebergs and global warming.
Iceberg Slim.
And you can believe global warming is not real. That is, you're right. You're wrong, but that's okay. And then this looks fun. It's a Ruth Justice Ginsburg in her own words, a little documentary thing there. So check that out. There's a lot happening this week.
Yeah, and there's another one too that I don't
Woo!
think showed up on there, so we'll figure it out next week.
Okay.
This week on Blu-ray and the DVD, Sky Sharks is coming out. Looks like
Sky
sharks.
Shark?
Yeah, Sky Sharks. They're flying sharks with guns and stuff on them. I don't know why you don't understand that. Elysium is getting a 4K treatment.
I liked that movie.
I do too. Greenland is coming to Blu-ray and DVD, which we had a great
That was
time
good.
with. And Freaky is coming to Blu-ray and DVD, which was really, really good. And that's about it. There's not a lot. There's some other bunch of randoms, like Jing Xia's coming out, and
Cool.
what was the other one? I don't remember. But a bunch of random. Looks like a lot of sports stuff. Also, even though this isn't so much stuff coming out, be on the lookout on our website, our YouTube channel, but also TV if you haven't already seen it. A lot of trailers are dropping today from the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We've already got the full trailer for Falcon and Winter Soldier. We had a TV spot for Fast and Furious 9. We got a new...
I know people are probably tired of Fast and Furious, but I love them all.
This one you probably don't even know about. I just posted right before the show started. There's a new movie called Old, which is a new M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Ooh, I like him.
Then we have... what was the other one I saw pop up? I guess I could go to our page and I could tell you.
Go to our website at HollywoodMatrimony.com.
I think there's one other one. Oh, there was a new TV spot for the movie Nobody. So that's pretty much the big stuff that popped. That was just the big stuff that had popped up before we logged on.
We'll be adding more.
I did post a trailer for the Assault on VA D33, which is the one I was telling you about a minute ago, as well as a trailer for WandaVision for the rest of the season. But if you haven't watched the show, don't watch the
good.
new trailer because it's not spoiler to the new season episodes, but it does show stuff that's already happened.
Okay,
so
you've got
if
to
you haven't
watch
watched
it.
the show, don't watch the new trailer.
You
for
need
it.
to be watching it.
But
what's wrong with you?
You should be watching that show. That show is glorious.
It's really good.
And there's a lot of things. Another kind of announcement that's going to happen. I'm going to try to remind it as it goes. But one of the things that's happening in the world of streaming, this would normally be something we talk on our TV show, but we're not doing it as much right now.
Yeah, we haven't been.
But CBS All Access is changing. It is becoming Paramount Plus.
Right.
And so they're bringing all their Paramount stuff into it on March 4th. And if I'm not mistaken, if you're already a CBS All Access streaming customer like ourselves, it's just going to convert to Paramount Plus.
So we get Paramount things too,
yes,
right?
Which means maybe I'll finally have Yellowstone where I can watch it and not have to wait until it comes to Blu-ray. Because they have whatever Peacock or whatever, and I think that had it on there or something. I don't remember what crap. But anyway.
Peacock. Isn't Peacock free?
Yeah, but we don't have it on.
Oh, on our thing.
I don't think it's free, but we don't have it on. They don't have it on.
We don't have the app.
Yeah, they don't have it available. So anyway, but there's that. Then of course all the other stuff with your Netflixes and Disney Pluses, they're adding tons of new stuff all the time. So if you're one of those people that are still questioning if you should go straight up streaming and get rid of cable and doing this stuff,
you should.
We did about 2.5 years ago, I guess now.
Yeah.
Almost 3 years ago. We went straight streaming. I'm the one that fought about it. She was fine with it. I was fought. I still not. I miss a lot of stuff that I know I would have seen had I stuck to cable. But mostly more stuff that I would have just turned the TV on and let it run.
But you can do that now because we have live TV.
You can and you can't. There is some hindrances because there's some stuff that doesn't show up. But I'm talking about my only thing I miss is being able to say, go to True TV and just leave it on that channel. You can.
I do that with HGTV.
I know, and you can do that with some things still, but there are some things missing. Like you have to go online and with streaming, you have to find something to watch.
Yeah.
And I don't always like that. I like noise, but I don't want to pay attention, and I don't have anything. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But if you think about it, there are so many options, and believe it or not, no matter who you argue with, you can get almost all the streaming stuff that's coming out, and still be cheaper than cable.
Yeah.
Now, if you had every streaming service and even the ones that are starting to come out, yes, it could get up to the point where you're paying the same as you pay for cable, and you're like, what's the benefit? The benefit is all the stuff that's exclusive to those services that aren't on other channels.
Yeah.
Or their library catalog of stuff.
Like I like being able to go watch every single Star Trek thing in the whole universe. Star Trek on CBS.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Star Wars, on Disney.
Sorry,
but I'm thinking because Picard was exclusive to CBS.
Right.
And so
well, but it's also things like HBO Max is so good because
like that one
it merged DC Universe app into, or it's slowly folding it into the HBO Max app. But it has every HBO show that's been on, has all their seasons. You can go back and you have regular cable, you have HBO, but you can only watch HBO that's on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And then you might, but I know they had HBO Go and all the other stuff that kind of went with it. But if you have, say, like CBS All Access, you watch every show that's ever been on CBS, or for the most part, every show. If you just had CBS on your regular television of cable, you watch whatever's on CBS that day.
Correct.
So you're not paying for just to watch CBS. You're paying for their catalog.
Right.
Disney Plus is the same way. You're paying for...
Hollywood Matrimony does not endorse any specific streaming service.
These
are the opinions of Bobby Blake.
We love them all.
We like all of you equally. Yeah. And we have you all.
Yes, we do. And we pay for it. It's
not we pay for all of them.
Anyway, go ahead.
All right. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode. We know you're watching the Super Bowl. It's fine. Watch us later. Thank you for checking us out. We're live on YouTube and Facebook right now. Don't forget to find us on the Twitter and the Instagram. Like, share, subscribe, follow, do all those things, please. And thank you. When you go to our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com, don't forget to hit the contest button. That's where all the free stuff is.
That is where all the free stuff is.
I love it.
And join us next week for a special episode.
Ooh.
We'll be in a different location. We might be a little bit late.
I think we'll be
we're going to
okay.
try not to. We'll see what happens. But there'll be some traveling involved. And we're going to be dealing with some little touchy subject.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
But ironically, that's where we're going to be dealing with the subject is connected to one of the films. And it's going to be an interesting...
If we can find that spot, I want to set up there.
I don't think they'd let us the way things are right now. We'd have to be in full mask, but I think it's like a hallway.
I don't care.
I don't think it's like a...
We can take a picture and show a slide.
Yes. But
We'll
the problem is we're doing the show before we get to any of that. Unless it's in the
I
same
think
place.
it's in our.
Well, I'll look up and find where it's at. If it is,
Okay.
we'll do that
I
picture
think it is.
and bring it. So anyway,
Anyways, this is so exciting.
we're going to be fun. But also, throughout that week, not this coming week, but Valentine's week, we'll also have a lot of YouTube fun videos popping up.
Yes.
Not necessarily live. We may have some live Facebook stuff depending on how it connects, depending on our signal.
Mm-hmm.
But there will be a lot of YouTube stuff popping up that are fun adventures. It's going to be a section. I'm actually going to start a playlist section on our page called Hollywood Matrimony's Adventures.
We're going on an adventure.
So you'll be able to see what's going on. So it's going to be out in the world where the corona is.
It's okay.
And hopefully we'll come back safely.
It's okay.
But we'll see what happens.
We'll talk about that too.
But either way, we will be here next week for all new episode of Hollywood Matrimony live on location elsewhere. So not on location here. So
I'm saying bye. Goodbye.
peace, love, and chicken grease.
Peace be with you.